Good evening and welcome to the May 5th, 2021 legislative session of the Penfield Town Board. I'll officially call this meeting to order. Here in the audience, we have Town Clerk Amy Steckloff, Development Services Director Jim Costello, myself, Town Supervisor Tony LaFountain, and we have the board and Town Attorney, who we will introduce here momentarily. I'm going to ask those of us in the auditorium to please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And I'll ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Draw.
Here.
Cole.
Here.
LaFountain.
Present.
Moore.
Here.
Ockenden.
Here.
And we'll also let the minutes reflect that Town Attorney Richard Horowitz is with us as well. Before we get started this evening, the official notice into the record due to COVID-19 virus and the closing of town operations consistent with the governor's executive orders, the May 5th, 2021 Town Board legislative meeting will be held remotely via Zoom. This meeting will also be video recorded and broadcast live via the town's website. That's at penfield.org. On the town's government access cable channel 1303, and on streaming media device, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Search the Penfield TV in your device's app store. This is a free app. This meeting will later be transcribed. Questions regarding video coverage this evening, please contact Penfield TV at 340-8661. If you would like to address the board on any matter, there are two public participation opportunities, one at the beginning of the agenda and one at the end of the agenda. You may participate via phone at 340-8771 or by electronic submission at penfield.org. With that, this evening we do have one public hearing. However, before we start with that public hearing, I would like to recognize Ahmed Mustafa, who is the president of NEQALS, Northeast Quadrant ALS, and Webster Ambulance Service. And he has a public service announcement for us, a very special week that is this week, and then some other general information, and we'll recognize Ahmed. Welcome, as always, and thank you for everything your team does, not only for the service area, that includes Webster and Penfield, and thank you for that. We do appreciate it.
No, thank you, Supervisor LaFountain and town board members. I appreciate a few minutes of your time. As the supervisor said, a couple of things to talk about in May that I think would love your support from the town board. First of all, the week of the 16th of May, so in a few weekends, we will be celebrating EMS Week nationally. So, you know, EMS Week, much like Fire Prevention Week in October and some other Back to Blue weeks and things, is a week that would be a good opportunity to recognize the EMS agencies that support the town of Penfield, which includes Penfield Ambulance on Jackson Road, West Webster Fire Department Ambulance, which covers the northwest part of Penfield by, you know, the Dugway, the marinas up to Baytown, and a little bit further to the east. Northeast Quadrant Advanced Life Support, providing advanced life support into the northwest part of Penfield and backing up Penfield and other towns. And then obviously, also Webster Emergency Medical Service, which backs up Penfield Ambulance when needed. So, you know, really 4 agencies cover some or part of Penfield. And, you know, unfortunately with COVID, it's going to be difficult to celebrate. But I think if the community is aware that it is EMS Week, if you see an ambulance out that's not on a call and you have a chance to thank the crew, please take a minute to drop them a card. You know, not all the houses are open for visitors, but that would be one nice thing to do during that week. The second thing is on the 20th of May, so in that week, in conjunction with the National Academy of Trauma Surgeons, the Kessler Trauma Center at Strong, we are promoting Stop the Bleed Day. So Stop the Bleed is an initiative that the trauma surgeons are promoting to help the citizen provider, like we do with CPR and AED, become the first link in the chain of survival. So when we talk about gross hemorrhage, what that means is significant bleeding caused by accident or other injury. So, anything to an extremity, so not in your torso, so your arms, your legs, where a tourniquet can be applied to stop arterial bleeding. So it's an online component of training as well as a hands-on part. And the Northeast Quadrant Advanced Life Support will be one of the agencies that are doing that training for citizens from 4 to 6 p.m. on the 20th of May at our base at 780 Ridge Road. So we invite everybody to take the time to please learn how to address significant bleeding, because it will allow you someday to potentially save a life with very simple tools. But you need the training to know how to properly apply the tourniquet. So that is on May 20th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Northeast Quadrant's base at 780 Ridge Road. And then the last thing that I would just like to share, I'm very excited about because I started doing it today, is 4 agencies in Monroe County. So Monroe Ambulance, CHS Ambulance in Henrietta, Pittsford Ambulance, and Northeast Quadrant Advanced Life Support are starting an initiative with the County Department of Health for community paramedics to go out and provide the Johnson & Johnson vaccine to people who otherwise could not get to a vaccination site, so for homebound patients. So this has taken us literally 5 weeks to get all the state level approvals. There's only a handful of paramedics that are trained to do it in the county. And we started the pilot today. So I had the opportunity to go out with Monroe Ambulance. We went to 4 houses in the city and, test. How do we transport the vaccines? How do we administer it? How do we report it? There's a lot of logistics we're working through. But what I would like to take the opportunity is to tell our friends in the Penfield community that between NEQ and Pittsford Ambulance, right, you're in the middle of us, if you are unable to get to a vaccination center and would like to have a vaccine, it will be the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. That's the only one we can do at home. It's a single dose. If you call 211, so that's the non-emergency public access line. So if you dial 211 on your telephone, they will take your information and put you into the system and get you scheduled. This will probably take place over the next 5 to 6 weeks because EMS agencies, for the most part, are only doing it 1 day per agency because we've got to continue to serve our communities. But if you call 211, you can get yourself on the list and we'll schedule appointments and get to you in the next few weeks. But that is a very exciting initiative to help increase the number of people in our communities that are vaccinated against this terrible disease. And that's it, sir.
All right.
Any questions I can answer for you?
Board, any questions for Ahmed? I'd just like to say once again, Ahmed, thank you, you personally as well as your team for everything that you do. We're very fortunate with the public safety that we have in this community. EMS, fire, police, you guys are the best of the best. We've got a great program with mutual aid, and we're just so very fortunate that we've got the skills that we do and the professionals we do in the community. So thank you, and thank you for this week. And I see you've got your friend giving you a little nudge behind you, which says that it's time for you to go and time for us to move on to our public hearing. Thank you, be well, and be safe.
Thank you for your time, sir. Good night, everybody.
All right, take care. All right, we'll move on to a public hearing. I'll ask our clerk to please call that public hearing.
To consider a conditional use permit to allow a restaurant with outdoor dining at 1400 Empire Boulevard. The legal notice was published in the Penfield Post on April 22nd, posted on the town website and town clerk bulletin board. 7 postcards were mailed.
Thank you. And Mr. Horowitz, is this properly before the board?
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you, Mr. Horowitz. What I'd like to do at this time, I'd like to recognize Development Services Director Jim Costello to help tee this up and to introduce the applicant.
Thank you, Mr. LaFountain. Brandon Harris is the applicant. He is interested in reopening the restaurant that was built at 1400 Empire Boulevard, previously known as the Murphy's Law. He is going to take that over with his family and operate a restaurant at that location. And with that, he also has Mike Pattison with him this evening, who I believe is going to represent him on the application. So with Mike, why don't you take it away?
Thank you very much, Supervisor. Good evening, and board members. Good evening. I do see that everyone is in receipt of the application. It's being shared electronically. I'll keep this very brief. I think it's very succinct. We are intending to open, or we're seeking a conditional use for the purposes of the 1400 Empire Boulevard. It was a former restaurant known as Murphy's Law. We will not be changing anything whatsoever with regard to the aesthetics of the premises. There will be no amendments to the property. It is almost a turnkey operation, including even the sign that was previously there. That will remain the same size sign that we're seeking. Just a couple points to notice. There will be a maximum of 40 employees at this premises at any given time. The hours of operation will be 7 days a week from 11:30 a.m. until midnight. And again, just want to reiterate that the prior use of this property is going to be, we're not going to be changing it whatsoever. We look forward to answering any questions of the supervisor or board members or Mr. Horwitz himself.
Thank you very much, and Brandon, thank you for joining us as well. So for the record, I'll just let the record reflect that all the materials that are on electronic that Mr. Costello has shared with us, the board did receive that entire package, so we did have that ahead of time to review. Thank you for that. Thank you for the update regarding number of employees, signage, and hours of operation. And I know the answer to this. I'm going to just ask for the record, from a parking standpoint, the amount of parking that is available at that site, does that meet the needs that you have for that operation?
That is correct, and then some.
Okay. And I know that, one of the questions that the board has is with regards to outdoor music, any outdoor entertainment. Is any of that planned for this site?
I don't believe there's any extensive. We are seeking some patio area. There may be light music, but again, this is a restaurant establishment and very moderate, if not just ambient music. Anything additional or above and beyond that would certainly, we would seek permission from the town prior to.
Okay, great. All right, board, you've had an opportunity, obviously, to be at this location in the past, familiar with the building, the structure, general operation, looking to have a new operator at this location. You've had the opportunity to take a look at the packet of materials that were submitted for this public hearing. And I'll ask board any questions either for Mike, representing the applicant, or the applicant himself.
I guess the one question I would have is what you already asked, but a little deeper, is about the parking. I've heard from people that have boats that go to the South Marina how crowded it can be. And I just wondered, with the changes in the property that formerly known as Basil's, now known as apartments, do you have a relationship there to make sure that your parking isn't infringed upon from the boats and from the people that live in the house, the new apartments? I mean, is there some communication with all the entities to make sure you have enough parking for your restaurant?
Yes, again, to reiterate, I believe that these were all formerly owned and subdivided by the same entities. However, the apartments all have underground parking as well as assigned parking for each unit, is my understanding. Additionally, the marina itself does have a membership parking, I believe. Again, they're not my clients, but that's my understanding based on what we've reviewed. And as part of the lease, we do have the access to the parking that has been designated for this structure.
Okay, I just want to be clear, that you all have the correct parking and that it's not going to be people ending up parking on Empire Boulevard for some reason because of all the changes that have taken place since Murphy's Law left and you're coming in.
Understood.
Also, are you going to continue having that little party room on the side that Murphy's Law had? That was there was a little room. I know I was there for a Rotary meeting that you could have designated. It was, you know,
I can certainly let Brandon speak to that if he chooses to, but the lease for this entity or what we're seeking is the 7,700 square foot restaurant. So I do think it does encompass a majority of the building.
okay. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Supervisor?
Councilperson Draw.
Thank you. So I guess for Brandon or Mike, I have a question to ask you. You said that your hours of operation are 11 a.m. to midnight, 7 days a week? I guess I was just curious, is that only through the summer months? Are you anticipating like all year, all year long, those hours? It just seemed not having a day off. A lot of restaurants are closed a day, or their hours aren't quite that long every day.
I think that we would err on the side of caution with regard to applying to the town and letting them know what our desired hours are of operation. Certainly in this industry, you are correct. There are days that may prove to be less lucrative or less impactful for purposes of operation, and those may change, but the intent is to optimize the ability of the restaurant, at least in the beginning.
Okay, thank you.
Mike, Brandon, when are you planning on opening in a perfect world?
We would like to open May 20,
May 20th?
29th.
29th, thank you. And I'm making the assumption that the facility itself did not require a lot of work, remodel, or changing out of equipment at that location.
Minimal.
Not at all.
Okay. Board, other questions or comments? Yes, Councilperson Ockenden.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. My question's actually for Mr. Costello. Just curious, Jim, over the years that the prior occupants were there with Murphy's Law, was there any issues raised by any of the neighbors in the apartments, or, regarding noise or anything else that might be helpful to understand? Or
It wasn't a noise issue. I think that early on, Murphy's Law, and actually its predecessor, had music there that was, I want to say it was reggae or marimba music, that had no permit from the town. We did receive a few complaints from the apartment complex. We then stopped that, and then they came in. Murphy's Law actually came in and got a permit from the board, and then we had no complaints after that.
Great, okay, thank you.
Okay, Mike and Brandon, the building itself is a two-level downstairs. It appears to be a party room, locker room, maybe a gathering area and what have you. And your proposal does not include that area?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Just think it was important to make sure that everybody was aware that on the first floor, what I'll call the pool level area, everything, for all intents and purposes, will be on the second floor, if you will.
Yes.
Okay. All right, board, other questions or comments for the applicant or the applicant's representative? Okay, I'll ask Mr. Costello anything that we have not discussed either via the application submission or this evening that's not on the record that you'd like to see be added to the record.
I would just like to follow up on your comment regarding the outdoor area. So Brandon, there's absolutely no interaction whatsoever with respect to the restaurant use versus the locker room / pool area?
So if you look at this picture, there's a little section behind the building itself on the Irondequoit side. Go up a little bit more. And then right that little area. that is going to be seating for our patio. We're only going to have 5 to 6 tables down there.
And to clarify, for purposes of the picture, I believe that there is an overhang at what we're looking at. So on a three-dimensional view, it would not be on the patio itself. It would actually be under that overhang.
Got it. Got it. Mr. Costello, you
Answers my
good?
question.
Any other questions you have at this time? All right, before I ask the applicant, I'll just check my magic computer screen to see if we have any phone calls or any write-ins, and I don't see anything at this time. I'd ask Mike and Brandon, any additional input that you would like to have on this application that we haven't discussed here this evening?
Nothing further from me. I'd like to thank you, Supervisor and board members, for your time and consideration in this matter.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, so let's talk about next steps. Next opportunity that the board will discuss this matter will be next Wednesday, and that is during a work session. You're welcome to listen in and join in on that. If by chance you cannot do that, I would ask that you stay in touch with Mr. Costello. But again, that'll be at 7 p.m. next Wednesday, the 12th. And again, I would encourage, if you would like to join in and listen to that discussion with the board, you're welcome to do so.
Thank you very much.
All right. Seeing no further input at this point, I'll declare this public hearing closed. Michael, Brandon, thank you very much for joining us and the information. Please be well and be safe.
Great. You as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to our first opportunity for communications announcement, getting ahead to the public participation. So from a communications and announcement standpoint, and I will ask our clerk, are there any communications this evening?
Not this evening.
All right, thank you. I'll recognize Councilperson Draw for any communications.
No announcements. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
All right, and Councilperson Ockenden.
No, sir, no communications tonight.
All right, and Councilperson Moore.
None tonight.
All right, and Councilperson Cole.
No communications. Thank you.
Okay, I think I'll just underscore the message from Ahmed Mustafa, this week being EMS week, and all the hard work that all of those individuals, many of them volunteer, and Stop the Bleed on the 20th of May. And certainly, if you have a need to receive a COVID shot, the Johnson & Johnson, you're not able to get out to one of either the state or county sites, you have the opportunity to reach out to 211 and make an appointment to have one of the ambulance services in this area, probably Pittsford or Northeast Quadrant. Okay, with that, we'll move on to public participation. This is our first of two opportunities. You can call in at 340-8771, or you can also log in at penfield.org, and I'll give that just a moment as I toggle between call-ins and write-ins. I'll also say, while I'm giving that a moment, if you've not been at the Town Hall Complex here in the last few days, it is back buzzing with a lot of activity. A lot of our young people playing baseball, softball, a little bit of lacrosse, a little bit of soccer. It's great to hear the noise. It's great to see the activity, and it's been a long time coming. Everyone is doing that safely, but it is so good to see all of that activity with our youth being able to get out on the sports fields again. All right, no calls coming in and nothing in via the website. We'll move on to additions and deletions to the agenda. Anything from the board? Seeing none, we do have the April 7th minutes before us, and I would ask if there is a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second?
We'll move the Councilperson Cole, second by Councilperson Draw. Any discussion on those minutes? Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote of approval, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes.
All right, thank you. I'll ask, has the board, town attorney, or town clerk received any petitions since our last meeting?
Mr. Supervisor, I am in receipt of a petition signed by 15 residents residing in Pennicott Drive regarding a tree that had been growing in the Pennicott Drive cul-de-sac, which was cut down by the town in February this year. Their request is as follows: for the town to remove the tree stump that was left, to get a guarantee from the town to leave the grassy cul-de-sac area in place, and to allow the Pennicott Drive residents to purchase and plant a mature tree in the area that the old tree was located. Additionally, they promise to maintain the tree and grassy area year-round.
Okay, thank you. We will put this on our work session agenda for next week. Also, let the record show that the tree was removed per the request of the residents because it was dead, and that was removed during the winter months. So we'll put that on the agenda for next Wednesday. Okay, we'll move on to resolution by function, and we'll start with law and finance, please.
Authorization for supervisor to sign a license and hold harmless agreement to allow a fence within a drainage easement at 4 Thomas Marie Circle.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas be it resolved that the town board of the town of Penfield hereby authorizes the supervisor to sign a license and hold harmless agreement with the owners of the property at 4 Thomas Maria Circle to permit a fence to encroach into a portion of a drainage easement to the town located at this address. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, a roll call vote?
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Approval of issuance of a conditional use permit to allow an insurance office and apartment at 1805 Penfield Road.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas an application was received by the Penfield Town Board for the issuance of the conditional use permit of the code to allow for an insurance office and apartment at 1805 Penfield Road in the Four Corners zoning district. Therefore, be it resolved, whereas that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield held a public hearing at the Penfield Town Hall on April 21st, 2021 at 7 p.m. on said date to consider the application and all persons interested in this conditional use permit. Now therefore be it resolved that the applicant's request for a conditional use permit to allow an insurance office and apartment at 1805 Penfield Road is hereby granted, subject to the following conditions. For the record, Mr. Supervisor, there are 7 conditions in this resolution. All 7 conditions are consistent with what we see on these type of applications that come for us in the Four Corners zoning district. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion, board? See no further discussion, I ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign a license and hold harmless agreement to allow a driveway within a sanitary sewer easement at 39 Sunleaf Drive.
Moved.
Second.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield hereby authorizes the supervisor to sign a license and hold harmless agreement with the owners of the property at 39 Sunleaf Drive to permit a driveway to encroach into a portion of the sanitary sewer easement to the Town of Penfield located at this address. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Further discussion? See no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign a professional services contract with BME Associates to prepare a site plan and supporting documentation for the Shadow Pines properties.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Penfield has had a conceptual master plan for the Shadow Pines properties prepared to and addressed recommendations of the Shadow Pines Land Use Advisory Committee, and the final report dated on September 2nd, 2016, and the Shadow Pines Land Use Advisory Committee final report dated on April 17th, 2019. Whereas the town board desires to have a site plan and supporting documentation created for the property to address several of the components identified in this conceptual master plan. Whereas the town board requests a proposal from BME Associates to prepare a site plan and support documentation. Whereas BME Associates submitted a proposal to prepare said site plan and supporting documentation at a cost not to exceed $33,900. Now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign a contract with BME Associates in Fairport to prepare a site plan and supporting documentation as identified in the professional services contract attached to the resolution at a cost not to exceed $33,900. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization to retain counsel to represent defendants in action entitled Thomas Wellesley versus Christina Lysick, R. Anthony LaFountain, and the Town of Penfield.
Move.
Second.
Whereas legal action has been filed against Christina Lysick, Tony LaFountain, and the Town of Penfield by Thomas Wesley. Now therefore be it resolved that the law firm of McConville, Considine, Kuhlman, and Morin be hereby retained for legal counsel to defend said action and to prosecute in any all claims related thereto on behalf of the defendants in said action. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? See no further discussion. Roll call vote of approval, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Budget transferred in the general fund.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas a transfer is necessary to the supervisor's account for printing services. Whereas the town board desires to have an up-to-date budget in relation to current income and expenditures. Now therefore be it resolved that the following 2021 budget transfer be approved from regular contingency in the amount of $1,400 to office supplies in the amount of $1,400. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion? See no further discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization to post temporary no parking signs.
So moved.
Second.
Whereas it is the Town of Penfield's responsibility to promote and maintain public safety on roads within the Town of Penfield. And pursuant to the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law, Section 1660, the Penfield Town Board has granted the authority to authorize the establishment of traffic control devices on town highways within the Town of Penfield. And the Town of Penfield wishes to keep the neighborhoods around the town's Independence Day celebration, parade route, and festivities at Harris Whalen Park accessible to emergency vehicles. So therefore, be it resolved that the town board is authorizing and established no parking and established along both one or each side of parts of the following streets. And I'll read them, Mr. Supervisor, as there's any of the residents would like to know where these no parking signs will be on that Independence celebration. And they will be on Baird Road, on the north of Penfield Road, Peachtree Road, Hotchkiss Circle, Wheelock Road, Kenmont Drive, Henderson Drive, Avonmore Way, Hidden Meadow, Hillrise Drive, Lazy Trail, Valley Green Drive, Valley Green Circle, Maple Hill Road, Maple Leaf Circle, Timber Glen Trail, and Harris Whalen Park Road. So there be it further resolved that the town board hereby authorizes and directs the Director of Public Works to post the said temporary no parking signs along both and or one side of these said streets. So, Mr. Supervisor, I'm very pleased to be able to vote on this. And I think we're hopefully getting back to a new normal or almost normal with having our festivities, some of our festivities for the 4th of July in the town of Penfield.
For the Independence Day celebration on Saturday, the 3rd of July.
And the 3rd of
Right.
July, I'm sorry.
Just so we don't mislead anyone.
I'm sorry.
Nope,
Yes,
absolutely.
on the 3rd of July.
All right, very good. Thank you, Councilperson Draw. Further discussion on this particular matter? Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote of approval, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Accepting dedication and ownership of a sanitary sewer pump station.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. So whereas Adam Driscoll, on behalf of the Penfield Square Associates, has made application to the sewer department of the town of Penfield for the final dedication of a sanitary sewer pump station located within the vacant parcel number 5 of 1821 Fairport 9 Mile Point Road, tax ID number 125.01-1-25-.35 in the town of Penfield. So now therefore be it resolved that the town board, acting as the commissioners of the Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District, hereby accepts this dedication of the sanitary sewer pump station as described herein above in accordance with section 180 of the town code of the town of Penfield.
All right. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, roll call vote of approval?
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Award contract for 2021 and 2022 securing of properties as identified by the authorized official.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas sealed proposals were requested for the securing of properties that may become abandoned, neglected, and/or otherwise inadequately secured by the owner in accordance with the applicable secure compliance code requirements of the town of Penfield. And whereas Emergency Enclosures Incorporated is the lowest responsible bidder meeting the specifications as set forth in the bid for 2021-2022 securing of properties. Now therefore be it resolved that the Penfield Town Board hereby awards the bid to Emergency Enclosures, 1464 Lake Avenue, Rochester, New York. And be it further resolved, the proposal of Emergency Enclosures Incorporated, the bid documents, and this resolution shall constitute the contract subject to the approval of the town attorney. This agreement will run through December 31st, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Ockenden. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, I'd ask for a roll call vote of approval, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign recreation contracts.
So moved.
Second.
This authorizes the town supervisor to sign one recreation contract, and that's for Lisa Duffy, who's the instructor for the cheerleading camp for the summer's activities.
Great, thank you. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay, thank you. This brings us to old business. Is there any old business to come before the board this evening? Seeing none. Is there any new business to come before the board this evening? Again, seeing none. This is the next opportunity for public participation. Again, you can do that by calling in 340-8771, or you can log on at penfield.org. And again, I will give it just a moment and toggle between electronic submissions and phone calls. I'll remind everyone that it's that time of the year. You'll start to see a lot more road work going on. Some of that is by utilities. Some of that is by the big state project that we have at Atlantic Avenue and 5 Mile Line Road. And we have a number of projects that the town is doing, as well as a contractor working for the town, replacing and repairing catch basins and crossover pipes. I know if you're in different subdivisions, you'll see that activity going on. I would just ask, please drive safely around those. We do have signs and flag people in some cases and a lot of barriers, and I would just ask, be sensitive to that. We don't want to see anyone get hurt on any of our jobs, on our state jobs or any of the county jobs that we'll have going in the town of Penfield this year. Okay, seeing no further call-ins or emails, the May 5th, 2021 legislative session of the Penfield Town Board will stand adjourned at 7:41 p.m. Thank you to everyone that participated. Thank you to our friends at PCTV to keep us all connected. Please be well and be safe. Have a great evening.
Bleeding is the #1 cause of preventable death after injury. Severe bleeding can happen anywhere, from working in the kitchen to cutting a tree down outside to being involved in a motor vehicle crash.
Taking a 1-hour class to learn how to stop the bleed can make you, the citizen, the first link in the chain of survival and may help save somebody's life.
Visit stopthebleed.org
or contact your local emergency medical service and sign up for a class today.